This special edition of U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Becks. From farmers' first pass in the field to the final one at harvest, it's a game plan rooted in faith and belief. Becks Hybrids is with you every turn because both on and off the field, we're all farmers at heart. See why at BecksHybrids.com.
Farming is ranked the 6th most dangerous job. It's 2 times as deadly as serving in law enforcement and 5 times more deadly than being a firefighter. One culprit could be grain bin entrapments. Becks Hybrids decided to step in to raise awareness through a series of stories called Becks Day Ever. Nate Fairley, a regional business manager for Becks Hybrids and a volunteer firefighter and first responder in Gibbon, Minnesota, explains why.
It's a really big focus here at Becks because we work with farmers and we see this as an opportunity or a platform to help raise awareness in the fire and rescue industry. Awareness is the best means of safety and life-saving measures. So by sharing these stories, we're raising that grain bin safety awareness for farmers.
Our first story this weekend takes us to Gibbon, Minnesota. A call came in, and as Andrew McCrae shows us this weekend, it's a call to which Nate responded. But little did he know that one call could spark a new calling for his life and one for change.
We've always helped my dad farm, and on that day, the augers were running and we figured corn was transferring. Didn't see my dad's truck, so we thought that maybe he went to town and left it, just everything transfer. We came back and we heard that the augers were running empty. I'm like, something's going on, and all of a sudden I heard, light helps, help, help. And we ran up the bin, and there he was, and the corn was up to his neck. His head was sticking out. Then I called 911.
We arrived on scene and I immediately climbed up to the top of the bin to see what was needed. And then I saw Dana in there working on Jerry.
They wanted me inside that bin next to him. He was pretty much chest on down. We were just trying to dig him out to start with. We put on oxygen right away. That dust in the bin got pretty out of control.
It was a non-stop roller coaster for those couple hours.
Your mind is just spinning. We were cutting holes. We were making sure everything's off.
There was a lot of grain on the opposite side of that grain bin that continued to flow down at us like avalanches.
There's a couple times that we had to stop and just say, we're not winning. What are we gonna do?
I remember him looking at me saying my foot is in the auger. We knew right then and there that we had a lot of grain to move to get to the point where we could work on detangling him from that.
I gave a good buddy of mine a call and I said, we need your grain vac, bring it over to Jerry's. He says, okay, we'll be on our way.
And that grain vac was just the key in working right around the victim. It was so fast. It sped that process up by easily 30, if not 45 minutes.
With help from God, the first responders, and the community, Jerry's life was saved. Due to his harrowing experience and the high percentage of entrapment fatalities, Gibbon Fire and Rescue realized they needed a grain vac of their own and a means of transporting it quickly to a scene. They called the project R3, Rural Rescue Response.
This is the first of its kind. To our knowledge today, nobody has built a custom trailer that has a vac mounted to it for the grain bin entrapments and the storage capacity to hold all of those tools for rural rescues. But I don't want it to be one of a kind. I want it to be the first of its kind.
That custom trailer is something Nate is trying to get to more fire and rescue departments. And as you'll see later in the show, it's a tool that would have been useful for one rescue last year. But first, a quick break, and then what about demand for grain this year? Are the tides starting to turn? We'll ask our analysts coming up next.